Hey, what's going on? In this video, we're going to be covering world building, the top 5 tips on what you can do to create a better fantasy world, sci-fi world, neighborhood world, whatever world you want. We are going to cover that right here. So whether you're an aspiring author, an experienced writer, or perhaps you want to design video games or make a movie, this is the place to be. So for tip 1, it's all about starting with a sound foundation. Now, the best way to start with a sound foundation is to sketch out a map of your world. Even if you don't really know all the details about it yet, just, sketch out a map with like the different icons, different landmarks, perhaps like different cities with different people living in all of them. You want to show what makes your world different. You want to illustrate like the different trees that grow there, perhaps, or the different animals that run through the forests. Here, I'll just show you real quick. This one right here was a super like simple sketch that I made of my world before writing my book. I just divided up like the kingdoms right here, here, and there. And then I also added like landmarks and then like, some compass points and stuff like that. So that would just give me a good idea of what the world was supposed to be like and what the people in the world thought it was going to be like. So yeah, just get out like a little sketchbook or something like that and just sketch out a little bit of your world. Answer questions like where do the characters live, what do they believe, how are they influenced by the environment, stuff like that inside of your sketch. Tip 2 is consistency. Now, this doesn't happen a whole lot, but sometimes we'll find that a world is like super advanced in, say, the medical field, right? They just can heal basically anybody. But when it comes to perhaps like architecture or like war, they aren't advanced at all. They might still be using spears, or they might still be using just, hammer and nails. Like usually there's like, a little bit of time in between each one. So perhaps like this new like healing technology comes out a little bit before this like nuclear bomb, but they both come out around the same time. So just keep that in mind. To make it like a cohesive and consistent world, you have to make sure that the time lines up. Of course, say if your world is like super peaceful, then they wouldn't have war anyways, and there wouldn't be any need to develop war weapons. But say if there is war and if they're still using spears while there's like, x-ray machines or something like that, you do not want to do that. Tip 3 is about characters and cultures. Now, what's a story without characters? And what's a world without people? It's really nothing. So here, we really have to just dive in and decide what your characters and people in this world are going to be like. Like, what's their worldview? What are they afraid of? What do they love about the world? Also, if you are interested in like creating character descriptions, you can check out my other video. It's about combining Verb AI with Midjourney AI to create character descriptions and portraits, which can like further our imagination and help with this world building. So check that out once you're done with this video. You want to dive deep into the histories, the cultures, the traditions of these people, right? Like just how like I celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July. These people in your world will probably have their own traditions and cultures. And then you also have to make some sort of history. It doesn't have to be like a deep history. You don't have to know the names of everybody who ever existed, but a history that aligns with the traditions. Like, where did the traditions come from? How did the world begin? What's the religion? What's the belief of the world? All these things are extremely needed when crafting your character, because if you don't know what your character believes, it's going to be very hard to give your readers an authentic character. Now, tip 4 is on conflict and resolution. See, now every world needs a conflict. If you haven't noticed, ours is full of them. But then again, this makes it interesting. Of course, there's a lot of pain and suffering that comes along with this, but you have to remember your book is like fictional. No one's getting hurt if you make it an apocalypse, or if you just make it like a war-torn country. Even if it's like a super peaceful like utopia of just like, farmland and flowers, there still must be some sort of conflict. Maybe it's between the different farmers who can grow the biggest pumpkin or whatever. Your world needs to have some sort of conflict that the characters in your world, that the people in your world can talk about. It's going to be like in the back of their mind, being like, oh, I hope that the army from the west doesn't come attack our villages again. Or I really hope that Farmer McGregor doesn't have a bigger pumpkin than me this year. So those conflicts are what helps drive the underlying like traditions, histories, and other aspects of the world, because these conflicts are what drives the actions of the people in your world. Now here we have tip 5, and that is to leave room for the imagination. Now what I like to do with world building is I ask a question about the world to the readers. And now what I mean by that is I don't just like ask them like, do you know about this thing? It's more or less like mentioning something but not further elaborating on it. This boosts curiosity into what this is, and then later I might answer it or I might not. I might give a couple hints to whatever I was talking about. But that's the thing with the world. Just like how this world, like we live in it, right? But it's still like vastly mysterious. There's so much that we don't know, there's so much that we haven't seen. It's the same way in this world for your reader. So you don't have to explain every detail. Give a sense of mystery and boost the imagination of your reader by just mentioning a few things here and there, describing a few things, but never just fully explaining the entire world. You don't want to give it to them on a silver platter. They really have to like dig for all the answers. They might even have to like reread a whole chapter just to catch all those things that they missed. That's really what makes a good world. The mystery, the expanse, the just vastness of it. So there you have it. That was my top 5 tips on world building. If you need help writing your own story, like with the creative aspect of it, we can book a call down below. Just follow the link in Calendly and we can get something set up. Subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.